Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Popcorn Talks. I am one part of the podcast, RelayTS, alongside me, Crenbeast, and today we got a lot to unpack for you. We're daily so far in the IRL podcast. We've been posting daily. We want to keep that trend going, but if you guys support us more, that'll make us more motivated to keep pushing out the content. And we got a lot planned this week as well. But for today's episode, just briefly, Kren's going to go more in depth. We're going to talk about the main streaming services and why people watch certain stuff on certain platforms. Top 3 shows that we've watched in 2022. Not like new shows, but like any shows that we've watched, our favorites. And then our top 3 must watch for this month. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. And we'll dive into some more stuff as we get talking. But Kren, take it away.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different streaming services, and I think your view on the services completely depend on what shows you like and if there's a show on it that you do like. For example, Relay is a big Prime guy. I think Prime is like bottom tier, but that's only because I've only watched a couple of shows on there and they weren't very good to me. So it completely depends on
first impressions.
Yeah, it depends on your perspective and what you like. So that's kind of why we wanted to kind of take a further look into that, into each service and see what it does offer, see if we're missing something, and then also just kind of go over the top grossing shows, the top, kind of the money makers for each one. So I guess first, Netflix.
Yeah. I mean, we know the main one.
Yeah.
But what are the other 2?
So the top 3 on Netflix. So Netflix is a little weird because we're gonna do this actually by not overall show. We're going to do it by seasons. So the top 3 seasons of watch time on Netflix. Can you guess number where? Well, Stranger Things is in there.
Yeah.
Do you know where it is? It's not number 1.
Number 2.
It is number 2. Number 1 is actually Squid Game.
Okay.
So Squid Game...
That makes sense.
Squid Game actually had about 300 million more watch hours than Stranger Things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the hype around that was like unreal.
Also, I think something that people don't take into consideration is that Asia is a much larger and denser continent compared to us when it comes to population, and that is a Korean show. So,
yeah, you got all.
I mean that it's just gonna offer, especially because the actual native language to it is Korean, so it's gonna have just a bigger base of people watching it. So that Stranger Things is also available everywhere, but it's in English.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, it's kind of common in American culture now to watch Japanese and Korean like anime and things dubbed or with subtitles. So that was already built into our our society. So when Squid Games came out, it was just okay. We'll watch it that way. Other places don't do that as much as we do. So, and then number 3 on the list is actually a brand new show, Dahmer.
I'm not surprised by that, to be honest with you. I mean, at first, when I heard about it, I was kind of surprised, but then when I thought about it, not really, because if you have been, on TikTok or social media over the past 3-4 weeks, you know that the Dahmer, trend or whatever you want to call it, just like the relevancy of the Dahmer show has been out of this world for the last 3 to 4 weeks. People have been obsessed with that show, been talking about it. People have been making TikToks about it, skits, you name it. People have been talking about it. So I'm not really that surprised that show is on the top 3 watch time for 2022. I mean, what other show would be in contention? I don't know what number 4 was, but I'm assuming it wasn't that close to Dahmer.
So it actually kind of was, but I mean, relative, right? Because these are in the billions and hundreds of millions of watch hours. So when something's 100 million away, it seems like a lot, but not really. So Squid Games had 1.65 billion watch hours. Stranger Things had 1.35.
Okay.
Dahmer had 856 million. So Stranger Things and Squid Game were a league above. This was specifically Stranger Things season 4, by the way.
Yeah. So that doesn't count the previous 3 seasons.
Yeah. Number 4 was actually a show called Money Heist, season 5, but that is a Spanish-speaking show. So that, that would be a reason neither one of us have seen it. Bridgerton owns the spots for 5 and 6. Money Heist is next. Stranger Things season 3 is after that.
Oh yeah.
And then season 5 of Lucifer.
Ooh, I personally have watched Lucifer this year, and I loved it. I mean, it was sort of like a crime show, but it still has another storyline added onto it. So it was kind of more than just your average crime show, which I'm not a huge fan of because they get old fast.
Yeah.
But it was actually a really good show, so I recommend Lucifer. I'm not surprised.
Yep. And then other notable shows on the list is All of Us Are Dead, The Witcher, Inventing Anna, which if you listen to yesterday's episode, you'll know that I'm high on. 13 Reasons Why, it's a farce, don't watch it, read the book instead, and then Ozark.
Well, you just mentioned The Witcher. We actually have some news about that show. Cren's disappointed. Luckily, I haven't watched it yet, so I'm not disappointed. Well, I guess
very
it could
disappointed.
go either way. But if you haven't heard, The Witcher was, the main guy, The Witcher, was starred by Henry Cavill. Is that how you pronounce it? Pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Who plays Superman, obviously. And he's not going to be The Witcher for season 4, which is... It's been big backlash by the community. People are saying they're not going to watch the show.
He is The Witcher.
Yeah, so they did a poll on are you going to watch season 4 because Henry Cavill is not going to be The Witcher in
season 3. Just to clarify.
Season 3, okay. So 80% of the people said no, they're not going to watch it because he's not The Witcher. Which it makes sense. That's taking out the main character. That's like saying for season 5, Millie Bobby Brown isn't going to be 11.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm going.
By the way, Liam Hemsworth is the replacement, so
and that's why I'm going to give it a chance because Liam Hemsworth is incredibly talented, very very good. So I'll give it a watch. But I was really looking forward to it because I'm a big fan of that story in general. The Witcher is one of my favorite game franchises of all time. I've never read the books, but I do the story, and it sucks because he looked exactly like The Witcher from the video game, and it really blew my mind. So, and they can make anybody look a certain way nowadays. But
yeah. And if you guys are confused on why he's not going to be The Witcher for season 3 or 4, whatever it is, it's because he has a lot of projects coming up, and obviously the news of him being Superman or coming back as Superman. So not only does he have DC stuff to film, but he's also part of films like Enola Holmes and stuff like that. So he has his hands full, and sadly, The Witcher did not make the cut. But yeah, I haven't watched it personally, but I know how disappointing that would be if I was a huge fan of that storyline and of that show and of that character. I mean, people get attached to characters over 3 years of the show being out, and then all of a sudden they hear that he's not going to be there. So I understand the backlash and 80% of people saying they're not going to watch it, which is probably not true. Most people are probably going to watch it regardless, because it comes out in June of 2023, I believe. But it's still understandably disappointing.
Yeah. Something that we also need to cover, we're going to move on to the other streaming services. So just to clarify, when we just talked about Squid Game, Stranger Things, Dahmer being the top. These are Netflix originals because we're talking about each platform and their original content. Now, if you want to talk about it, and we don't actually have these numbers, so it's very, very different. If,
Breaking Bad would probably be up there.
So Breaking Bad's on there. Friends was on Netflix for a decade. So the watch time on that is probably astronomical, just because it's 10 seasons of that. And so we're talking specifically
shows that were produced by Netflix.
So, and some of these streaming services, we don't actually have all the numbers. They don't provide it like Netflix does. So we're just kind of be going through the best performing ones in terms of rating and public perception. Some of them will have some numbers. So it kind of depends. I don't even know. Next up, we'll go to Hulu.
Okay.
So I'm kind of looking it up right now just to make sure we have it all. What do you think when you think of Hulu? Do you even know a Hulu original?
Well,
and that I'm not asking that down. I can think of one.
I can think of one too because it just came out, The Patient, but I know that's not the answer. That's not the top. It's with Steve Carell, so it's obviously pretty big, but it's not something that people go over there to watch. But I did see on the website, I don't think this is an original. I'm almost guaranteed it's not, but Sunny in Philadelphia is on Hulu.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that brings a lot of eyes over there.
Yeah, always Sunny's got a cult following, so that makes sense. And that's another thing too. A lot of these services, even though they don't have great original content,
They have awesome like long series.
they have series that just bring people to it. Well, even something as simple as, we'll get into this later, but Peacock has The Office.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that brought over millions of people because they want to watch The Office every single day, just having the background.
And they buy the $5 subscription, and then they see another show and recommend it. Oh, I'll try
Exactly.
it.
And that is the beauty. That's what these streaming services are trying to mimic. And that's where Netflix is in some trouble. Because although they're producing fantastic content, they're losing some of their because Breaking Bad is going to go eventually on AMC Plus, and they're losing some of their. They've already lost The Office. They've already lost Friends. They've already lost. They have Seinfeld, but they're going to lose that eventually.
That's fair, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think November might be like one of the biggest months since like
It's still original content only. My point is,
you're saying bringing other shows.
It's hard because there's still so millions of people who watch cable network television, and they're losing those.
Yeah.
So, but they are doing a good job. They acquired Manifest. Manifest was an NBC, cable network.
And that's
show.
like a long, like wide range audience. I feel like with ages.
Yeah, and that's probably a little bit older audience because it came from network television, and that they probably brought in a decent amount just for people who got hooked on NBC.
Yeah.
And weren't cable cutters and they had to go watch it. So I'm actually just going to use IMDb for Hulu because we don't have a ton of stats on here. And number one on here actually is the one I was thinking of. To me, this is the logo of Hulu. Is The Handmaid's Tale. That is one of the greatest books of all time, and I haven't read it, but it has the girl. I don't even know her name, but it's the girl from Mad Men. Every time I see the picture of her, I'm like, oh, she's a Mad Men. And that's pretty much the extent of my knowledge. The next few, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. I've never seen these. So number 2 is Letterkenny.
I've seen that. Letterkenny. Okay, so
You've seen Letterkenny. Okay.
I haven't seen the whole entire thing, but I know, like, I've seen several episodes. My brother is in love with the show. It's sort of like a comedy, country, like redneck show. And there's been like a lot of people making skits on it in TikTok. But if you've seen Letterkenny, like it's hilarious. But like it's
a comedy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like they're rednecks. They just sit on the porch and drink beer and make jokes. It's stuff like that. But it's hilarious. But it's only for a certain type of audience, sort of like The Office, like any other sitcom. It's not. I guess. Yeah, it's a sitcom. I'd say. But it's a good show. So yeah, I find it funny, but I just never sat down.
Interesting. All right, well, that's good to know. I had never heard of it. Number 3 on the list is Normal People.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That
actually might be a movie because, yeah, that might be a movie. I don't know why that's on here. This is Top Hulu Originals. Sorry, guys, bad pod. I don't know a lot of these. Looking for Alaska is the top one. There's a few on Hulu, though, that, like I said, they have some shows that they used to bring in an audience.
Like Lost.
That aren't there. So
that brought me in.
Well, they have 2 big ones for me personally. They have Lost and they have How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah,
they have both of those. And How I Met Your Mother is going to bring in subscriptions on its own just for people who want to watch it like daily.
That's a huge cult audience. They have that and Always Sunny. Like that's huge.
Yeah, they had 2 of the greatest.
That's probably why they're still like
sitcom style shows of all time.
Yeah,
and Netflix has Seinfeld, and
they're losing Breaking Bad in 2025. They're probably scheduled to lose a lot more. To be honest with you. Hopefully, they bring in some more shows. I'm cheering for Netflix because of Stranger Things. Obviously.
Yeah, Hulu also has Love Victor, Little Fires Everywhere. That one kind of blew up last year, and I know some of you are going to be like, "Oh, you're missing this. You're missing this." Well, it's not on the list. Sorry. Castle Rock. So Castle Rock. That is a horror, like a fantasy and horror like TV show, and it's based off of Stephen King. So in Stephen King's short stories and all of his stories, Castle Rock is like the town and the place where everything takes place in his little universe that he creates. So if you've ever seen Stand By Me, the whole thing there is Castle Rock. I haven't actually watched it, but I'm a big Stephen King nerd, so it's kind of a cool thing. I actually might need to watch that. And that's 25th on this list. The Mindy Project is also on there. That's Mindy Kaling. That's she plays in The Office. She's Kelly Kapoor in The Office. She's the main girl there. I know that's a pretty big one. But other than that, so we've done Hulu, we've done Netflix. I mean, that's pretty much the only two. So we can. No, I'm just playing. There's a lot of streaming services. We're not going to go over all of them.
We can go over HBO and Prime.
Yeah, we'll do HBO. We'll dive into Prime, Peacock, Paramount. We'll dive into like the bigger ones. Disney Plus is obviously huge, but Disney Plus is so weird because they have every Disney thing. So people get that for so many different reasons. But first, just a quick reminder, guys. If you're listening podcast form, Apple, Spotify, if you are the one person out there listening on Amazon Music, then
Audible. Yeah,
just claps and shout out to you. Thank you. But leave a 5-star review if you haven't already. If you're on Spotify, it's a little bit harder. Look in the top left of the page, click the star, click 5 stars. You can write a review. You don't have to, but leave us a 5-star review. If you're an Apple, super simple. Just scroll down, you'll see it. 5-star review. I don't care what you say in the review. You can dog us out if you want. Just leave us a 5-star. If you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe with notifications on. Leave us a comment. And then we have links to all of our stuff wherever you are in the description. So our TikTok, Instagram, our Discord, our community Discord. We're going to be doing movie nights. We're going to be doing a lot of extra content. We're going to have a community, places where you guys can chat with each other, kind of about shows. We're going to have
theories. We'll talk new trending shows. We'll update you guys on what shows are coming out, what news we see.
And we're going to have dedicated channels for different shows. Like if we have enough of you in there that you can sit there and chat about theories with people, you can chat with us. We'll have voice chat rooms for you, all kind of cool stuff. Make sure to join that. And let's get back into it. We also need to thank our sponsors. And thank you so much. So we'll get back into it now. We'll go into Prime Video, I guess.
Okay.
Because, why not?
I gotta guess. At least one of the shows in the top 3, if they even have a list. I'm gonna guess it's The Boys, but I'm not sure. Terminal List might be up there for 2022.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so I do have. This says the top watched shows on Amazon Prime the past 2 years.
Okay.
And these look like they're all originals. So I guess this is originals. If this is true, okay, so this is all time. This isn't just seasons. So this is not broken up by season like we had on Netflix. So number 1. So one of the shows that you have watched is actually in the top 3. Number 1,
Psych?
No.
Okay.
Number 1 is Reacher.
Okay.
I don't. Is that? Oh, that's the. Oh, okay. That's the.
I have not seen Reacher. I've heard of that though. Is that Tom Clancy? No, it's Tom Clancy.
I think that's the. Is that the Jack Reacher? Show.
I've definitely seen.
Yeah, it's the Jack Reacher show. So okay, interesting.
What's number 2 and 3?
I have not. Yeah, neither one of us have seen Reacher. So if you guys are fans of Reacher, maybe I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Maybe I am sleeping on.
Well, Cren's sleeping on every Prime Video show.
I do be sleeping. Number 2 is actually a book that I'm familiar with, The Wheel of Time. Okay. And I've actually been meaning to watch that. So I have been sleeping. Can I have your Prime password?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon.
Sponsor.
You didn't hear that, but sponsor us. Dude, I'm sleeping because, okay, so for... This is crazy.
What's number 3?
So, hold up. I actually have an update for you. So, Reacher had 5.76 billion minutes of watch time. So, that's the whole show. 2, Wheel of Time, 4.91. Number 3 is The Boys. The Boys has 4.8 billion minutes. So, I'm just going to give you reference, though, because it actually has a reference to Netflix, and this actually shows the top 4 shows over the past 2. This is the past 2 years of data, by the way.
Okay.
So over the past 2 years, it compares it to Netflix shows. So just an FYI, Stranger Things is not in this top 4, but that's because this data came out in November 2021, so it did not include 2 reasons. It didn't include season 4 of Stranger Things, and also Stranger Things, a new season had not been released
in 2 years.
In over 2 years at that point. It was like
Yeah.
2 years and 4 months. So, and the data was only for a 24-month span. So that's why.
Yeah.
But number 1, this is a crazy comparison. This shows how far Netflix is ahead. At least so this data is a little out of date, but it's a good kind of vantage point. It shows how much Netflix is ahead of at least Amazon Prime, because Bridgerton season 1, 37.5 billion minutes in the 2 years. Well, this is actually not season 1. This is the whole show. Excuse me. The Witcher, 32.5 billion. And this actually isn't, I take it back, this isn't even the top 4. This is just some of the series that are in their top, because they pulled this from the NASDAQ that they shared on the NASDAQ. So that's interesting. Made and You had 28.1 billion views or minutes of watch time. So
yeah, well, Netflix solos and Prime. I mean, it only has certain, I feel like Prime it prioritizes originals too. Like it has a bunch of originals. Like Terminalist is a new original. The Boys is an original. Like there's a lot of originals that are coming out and that have been on Prime. They don't really have that huge, like, that Lost type of show that's on there. I mean, they have Psych, but, like, Psych isn't nearly as big as Lost. At least I don't think it is, but I love Psych personally. If you guys haven't watched Psych, I highly recommend. But that makes sense that Netflix has completely soloed Prime. But don't sleep on Prime. Prime has very good shows. I've been telling Fred this for a year now, and he just says that, the other streaming service is better. Which he's right. But there's still good content on Prime. And
well, my worry for their originals are how well produced are they?
Better than NBC.
No, NBC.
You don't think so?
No, the network shows.
The Voice is really good.
I haven't watched it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know about Prime. I just know typically network shows have better production, either network or HBO, because HBO is technically network. They've in the past always had the best production, but we're starting to see it flip. Netflix originals over the past 2 years have been incredible. Hulu has some really good ones, so we're starting to see it flip. The difference is network, you have the cookie cutter shows that get blended in, and people are like, people get upset about that. Like we complain about Manifest being cookie cutter, but I mean, you got to remember, like Breaking Bad, that was a network, that was a cable television.
So they were like
Lost.
They were kings in like the 2000s.
And as far as view wise, they still are kings.
Yeah,
but we're seeing it flip.
Just to touch on the Manifest thing, the reason I'm so excited about season 4, and we'll talk about this in our Manifest episodes that we'll be releasing this week. So if you haven't watched Manifest,
and we have some juicy info for you, because there are some actors that won't be in there, and there are some changes that you need to be aware of. So make sure to stay in touch with us.
But anyways, the reason I'm so excited for season 4, and Kren's excited as well for this reason, is because NBC canceled, Manifest after season 3, and Netflix has picked up season 4. And one of the biggest complaints about Manifest for the first 3 seasons was its CGI, its production, and Netflix picked it up. So I'm excited to see if they can really, because that was their biggest flaw. So if they can fix this flaw, I think Manifest could be huge for season 4, because season 4 is going to be 20 episodes. So that's why I'm really excited for season 4. But yeah, I just thought I'd touch on that. If you guys haven't watched Manifest and you're looking for a new show, I highly suggest that on Netflix. There's some slow parts, but the story is amazing, and I love it, and I can't wait for season 4.
Yep. No, I'm excited as well. And like you said, we'll be talking about that a little bit. We'll touch on it at the end of the show in one of our segments, and then we'll have a full show dedicated to it. We'll have full show going over episode 1, and then a full show covering the entire part 1. But speaking of NBC, so NBC owns Peacock. Peacock is the next one we're going to go over. And again, I don't really have numbers right here. I probably could have looked deep into some databases and found some numbers. We're just going to roll with some things we found on the interwebs. So this is listing some of the top shows on Peacock. Number 1 is Superstore. I have not seen Superstore.
I've heard about that, though.
Yeah. No, I know what it is. It's a comedy sitcom, if I'm not mistaken. I've never seen it. it looks a lot like the new show Blockbuster coming out. That's what it looks like to me. Like it's just like they're working in a superstore, same as Blockbuster. So I don't know. Haven't seen it. It has Friend of the Family, which again haven't seen it. I'm looking through this list. I haven't seen any of these. The Peacock though has one thing. It has the King. It has the Kingpin. It has the MJ. It has
The Office, but it also has WWE, which personally for me, that's why.
Well, Peacock. So that's the thing. A lot of different streaming services are gonna have different pools. Other than just like Netflix is just shows and movies. Hulu has live. Hulu, like you can use Hulu Live if you don't want to pay for cable, so you can watch live TV. If not just sports, like shows like Young Sheldon that are coming out, Yellowstone, like that comes out, like because Yellowstone when it comes out, like shows like that, it's network, so you have to wait like for it to be uploaded on whatever it comes on like after it comes out. So if you want to watch the premiere like, with commercials, I know a lot of people are like that's crazy, but you have to have either cable or you have to have DirecTV or you have to have a live streaming service. So Sling TV, Hulu. Peacock has the same thing, but Peacock also offers, like you said, wrestling. But then they correct me if I'm wrong, but they did the Olympics. They do a lot of different things. So for them, they're creating originals, but it's also just they're NBC.
So they're still doing really well.
Like, they're NBC, they're Warner Brothers. So
because for me, like whenever WrestleMania came around, that's like the Super Bowl for wrestling fans. So that has to like bump it up even more than like they even have The Office. So like it's even more.
They also have Law and Order.
Yeah. So Peacock is chilling.
I mean, they have all of the NBC network. NBC.
They recently signed that WWE deal too, so they are chilling for a few years probably.
Yeah, so they're gonna have.
So they're actually better than I thought they were.
Yeah, and they have a lot of pool, and all these places have pools. You just have to know what they're pulling because Peacock's still new. Yeah. Peacock was released in what COVID 2020.
Maybe 2019.
2019, maybe. I remember when it was released because I remember it being like they were offering like a free year for everyone, or like $1 for a year or something. But yeah, that's Peacock. They also have Vampire Academy, which I've seen some stuff on. Looking through it here, Rutherford Falls. I've seen a lot of stuff on that. It's just not anything I've watched, probably because I don't have Peacock. Oh, they have the Bel Air show. They have the new Fresh Prince show where it was a kind of a redo of the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So I know that was a really, really big pool. That just came out this year. Again, I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, speaking of, so another powerhouse in the just TV show, not TV show, but just network shows is Paramount. Paramount owns a bunch of different networks. So I'm going to look up the Paramount Plus top shows as well.
I don't think I've ever watched anything on Paramount Plus because I've never had it. So I'm actually curious to see this list to see if I've actually seen any of these shows.
So I have, but that is because iCarly is on Paramount Plus.
Well, I've seen iCarly, so that's one show at least.
So they have, this is interesting. They have the Star Trek show that came out.
Never seen that, but obviously that's massive.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I know that had a lot of big stuff. They have a show called 1883 on here. That looks like
1883, 1889 is coming out on Netflix this week.
Oh, this is a prequel to Yellowstone.
Oh.
How do they have a prequel to Yellowstone when Yellowstone's not even done yet? The Good Fight. They also
maybe Yellowstone's a sequel to that.
No, it's a prequel.
So that means that it was before Yellowstone even released. Or no, while Yellowstone was released. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I haven't watched Yellowstone, but that's something I'm anticipating to watch.
So The Good Fight is big. Never seen it. They also have Survivor on Paramount Plus. Now, Survivor.
Yeah, I've watched some Survivor.
Okay, yeah, the old show, So Survivor's on there. So a lot of these shows also have kind of older. They have a lot of, like we said, they have a lot of different pools because all of these, the ones that are not Netflix, not Hulu, not Prime, the ones that are owned by major networks, they always throw on the shows that they produced way back in the day, which is the reason that Breaking Bad is leaving Netflix because it's going to go on AMC Plus because that was an AMC show. So like now they're just now creating their own digital, streaming services. So they're waiting for their contracts to run out on the shows that they produced years ago, and they're getting access to put on there. So eventually, Lost will be on whoever produced it, unless they gave up the rights, I don't know who actually.
The example of that's Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad. An example is like Peacock is NBC. NBC produced The Office. So when Peacock came out, The Office left. Ran out their contract for the year, left Netflix, went on Peacock. So that's why a lot of these places have pools, because they have OG shows. And they have stuff that they produced a long time ago, and that gives them legs to produce their own stuff. But a lot of them are putting cookie cutter shows out. A lot of them also, we're not even mentioning movies, by the way. A lot of these places have movies that,
So Paramount had iCarly and
Star Trek.
Okay.
So they have RuPaul's Drag Race on here. It looks like they have a lot of. They have Frasier. It looks like they have a lot of. I forget the word I'm looking for, like MTV type shows. They have a lot of like Survivor. I can't even think of the
reality.
word. Yeah, reality shows. So that's interesting. They also have. Obviously Paramount is going to they're going to have crazy movies. I'm looking right here. They have. That's where Top Gun Maverick went. Titanic, Transformers.
Yeah, so that's probably honestly the main.
Yeah, it's Paramount, right?
Yeah.
That they're known for. Movie theater, box office, that's what they are. So they're a movie service typically. So, if you're on old cable network, if you're on DirecTV cable, whatever you have, Paramount and HBO are the two. Were like movies. Like when you get down too far, if your parents had it back in the day and you went down too far past the channels that you had, and you went into the whatever hundreds it was for you, and you had to pay extra for it. It was like HBO and then Paramount.
Okay.
So that they're obviously going to be known for movies. Another one, Disney Plus.
Yeah. So Disney Plus obviously has all the movies.
Yeah, but they also have. You got to remember, Disney owns Marvel, so they have all the Marvel shows.
All the Marvel stuff.
They have all the Marvel shows. They have the Star Wars shows.
The new the Moon show. I forget what it's called with Marvel, or is that with Marvel? Moon something. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've been checked out of the MCU since Endgame, so I've watched a little bit, but
I haven't watched that much Marvel, but obviously I know what's popping at the time. This year it was Moon. I think the Moon show. I can't think of the name, but it came out in May, and I know a lot of people who watched that. I think it came out in May, around that time. But yeah, Disney Plus obviously gonna be I feel like they have the cheat code with Marvel. That's the biggest audience, right?
So, well, yeah, but I would
one of them.
So yes, but Star Wars. So The Mandalorian came out a few years ago, and that is their top grossing show of all time. Season 2 of The Mandalorian had 8.3 billion minutes watched, which is actually double season 4 of Stranger Things.
But that isn't even compare. Well, that's just one season.
So The Mandalorian. That's the thing that people have a hard time grasping, is the size of OG things, because I think
Star Wars has been around since the 80s.
Exactly. So I think people don't before that, but I think people don't understand that it's not just people, but it's us, right? So we're younger. I know that's cringe younger. I'm 25. Shut up. No,
it's funny.
But we're younger. So when we think of our shows, it's there's we think Stranger Things is the biggest thing ever, because it really is in our world. But then what you have to remember is there's also people our age that are cult followers of Star Wars, but Star Wars also
has those cult followers who 50, 60.
40, 50, 60, 70. So those people are also getting Disney Plus to watch it. So it's just a much bigger base. Eventually, if Stranger Things, branches off, creates a universe, makes shows and movies and stuff in 30 years, it'll be that big. But I
cannot wait for that.
These things that we are watching now, just if they're newer, they're just not as big globally and throughout all demographics.
But they eventually will be.
If they continue, but that's what makes things like Star Wars so special, is
because
most things don't continue.
Decades, half a century.
Yeah, because Star Wars came out in the 70s, and they had the 3 movies, and then they had the 3 movies come out in the early 2000s that were the prequels, and now they've had 3 more movies come out in the past half decade.
2010s.
And then they've had the shows come out. They had Obi-Wan. They had Mandalorian.
They've been pushing us up like a lot recently.
They have an entire universe and it's massive. So, but Disney Plus just has so much. So Loki came out, WandaVision, massive. WandaVision had 4.8 million watched in its one season. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, just so many things. But Disney Plus that's so different because you get this. The reason people get Disney Plus are so many different reasons. Because 2 things, Disney Plus is tied with ESPN, so you can get a watch ESPN and Disney Plus thing.
So they have all the cheat codes. That doesn't even count.
They have that. They're tied. They have a package where you can get Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN.
Yeah, for like $7.
Yeah, it's like super cheap.
They might have raised it by now, but that was what it was.
Yeah, and Disney Plus also has all the old Disney Channel stuff. They have like all the Disney movies. They have the kids stuff for kids. So if we're not going to look at this. We can do another show specifically on this one day. But if we were to look at actual numbers of subscribers, I bet Disney Plus would blow everything else out of the water just because of that. Just because of that.
But
could be wrong though, because Netflix is globally massive.
And HBO is pretty big as well. That's the next one up, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think Relay gets sick of me talking about this show, but and I'm gonna pull up the top shows.
Well, it's not the only good show on HBO.
It's not, but it is not 95% of people who go to HBO.
But they have good movies as well, like The Batman.
Well, yeah,
I just watched The Batman on HBO recently.
Yeah, no, they do, but again, the
guys, I'm annoyed with Game of Thrones because this guy has only talked about that for the last 6 months, similar to how I've only talked about Stranger Things for the last 6 months. Like, you know how much I talk about Stranger Things? It's literally my entire life, my entire content, everything. That's him with Game of Thrones.
True. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is. But so yeah, I'm pulling up. I mean, look.
I also recently watched Barry on HBO, and Barry is a very good show.
Most people, yeah. No, I was just saying most people they just get it for, but it's also there's some other stuff on here. So it's not just Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is the reason that most people get HBO Max.
Okay.
If you're talking HBO in general, Game of Thrones, I don't even know if it's the biggest HBO show of all time. You know why? Well, it is now, but
like back in the 2000s,
it's the biggest. But some people, the funny thing is, HBO or Game of Thrones, a lot of people will consider it the greatest show of all time. But at least a lot of people will consider it the top 3. But it might not even be the greatest HBO because HBO also produced The Sopranos.
Ooh.
So
that's on my must watch. Like that's pretty far down on my list because
I don't think you'd like it.
Yeah, so I might not like it, but it's on my must watch. And I probably wouldn't because I didn't like another show similar to that. I forget what it was.
So I'm looking. This is IMDb. So this is the top HBO Max shows, but it's by popularity rating, and it kind of like goes and flows like as people watch it. So this isn't all time. This is like currently. It updates like daily. So number 1, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. Number 2 is actually a movie, Barbarian. That's the one that I actually got invited to go to the screening for in LA, and I couldn't go.
But we didn't live in LA. So
yeah, I couldn't go. That was actually the Warner Brother, that was actually Time Warner that produced.
Well, if a company wants to sponsor a house for us in LA, you know where to contact us.
Yeah, hey, hit us up.
We'll work out some deals. We'll put in 60 mid rolls or whatever if we have to.
We'll put in 70. I don't care.
The whole podcast is an ad.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. After that, Doctor Who.
That's huge. That's a cool fall.
Oh, you know what's funny? Oh, HBO Max also has Rick and Morty.
Well, there you have it.
Huge, massive. They also have a show that I've been living with you for 3 months, and only twice have I ever seen your blood boil. And one of those times was 2 days ago when this show got brought up. Do you know what I'm talking about? It made your blood boil. And you said you watched a couple of episodes and you just like you legit got mad and went in your room.
I don't remember.
When the show got a commercial came on for it.
I have no idea.
White Lotus.
Oh yeah. Dude, I hate that show. No. I'm sorry. You can like it. We have different opinions. Okay, you might not like that. I like Stranger Things, but you probably do actually. But Stranger Things wipes out Violence. By the way, that's not a comparison. I watched like 3 episodes of the show, and I'm not even kidding. Like, I get why some people would like it, but it's the literal, like, exact opposite of what I like to see from my show. It's just the cringe on purpose acting though. It's cringe on purpose. It's not cringe because it's an accident and they're bad actors. They're all good actors. They have like a stacked cast.
So
but
is it like soap opera acting?
Yeah, I think so. I don't even know what to call it. It's just I don't know. You have to watch it. Actually, don't even watch it. You just take my word for it. I'm kidding. You can give it a try. I don't know. I watched 2 episodes of that and I wasted an hour and whatever of my time in my life. And I want those 2 hours back.
So I told you guys. I told you. But let me run you through some of the shows that they offer and let you know why you've been sleeping on HBO Max. And I know you don't.
I watched Barry.
I know, but I'm just going to tell you why you're sleeping on what they offer. So we've already gone through Rick and Morty, Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, whatever. They also have Friends. They also have The Sopranos. They also have Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory.
I watched a lot of Big Bang Theory.
So, and then, I mean, they also have Euphoria. That's an HBO Max original.
Yeah.
Or that's HBO Max original. It's an HBO show.
Max.
So HBO Max is different because they don't necessarily... HBO Max does not produce their own originals because they just produce it for HBO and then put it on HBO Max. Because HBO has been its own separate... They have been their own streaming service since like the 90s. Like, the way HBO has always worked is it typically doesn't come with basic cable television. You have to pay extra for it. And you get all the HBO movies. You know, HBO like produces some of the best movies of all time. And they also... do shows, stuff like that.
How many seasons does Euphoria have?
I think Euphoria only has 2 seasons right now.
Would you say that's like the Stranger Things of HBO or no?
I mean, no, they have Game of Thrones.
I guess. But it just reminds me of that sort of audience, like the age. But maybe not.
Age-wise, yeah.
I've never watched Euphoria. I just know that it's popular and like Euphoria. I've never talked about it.
Euphoria blew up on social media.
It's been on my For You page.
Yeah, it blew up on social media. So but also that could also be because of the age of the characters and the cast. It has Zendaya.
Okay.
So, yeah, that right there did it.
Yeah.
It has Zendaya. So
yeah.
that's all I need. It also shows a lot of penises. So
yeah.
The show is I've seen a little bit, but I've never watched it.
I don't plan to watch it.
So, we also have. Well, that's it. We're not. There's some other. There's AMC Plus.
We'll be here for another 5 hours.
There's Apple TV, AMC Plus.
And we don't care.
There's an unlimited amount.
Well, actually, Apple and AMC, if you want to sponsor us, then we will care.
Yeah, we'll care if you want us to care. But past that, we're actually gonna transition on. Before we do, quick reminder again: join the Discord, community Discord. Link in the bio wherever you're watching. Leave a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe with noties on. Also. Give us all your money because we need a new mic. No, I'm just kidding. But so we're actually going to go into the top 3 shows. So Relay and I are both going to list the top shows that we have watched this year. Now, this is purely for your entertainment purposes. We're not giving you any insight or news. We're just letting you know.
We're not critics. We're just watchers.
We're just giving you our top 3. And this, just for clarification, this is not the top 3 shows of 2022. This is the top 3 that we have personally watched. So including shows that came out years ago and that we just now got around to. We've had a full year of watching and rediscovering shows because we were planning for Popcorn Talks and we've been trying to pound out a lot of stuff. So let's hear it. We'll go 3, 3, 2, 2. We'll do it that way. So in order, what's your third best?
Well, we're not going to be boring and say Stranger Things is on our list because
no. Another thing. We're only listing shows that we watched starting this year, not show. Yeah. So if we watch seasons 1 through 3 way in the past and a new season came out, we're not including those.
Okay. Yeah.
So shows that we started this year.
So my number 1 would be, I think. Well, you said number 3.
Yeah, we'll go descending order.
Okay.
Or ascending order.
Number 3, I would go with You.
Okay.
So You is on Netflix. and wait, are we doing Netflix, just Netflix?
No.
Either way,
Overall.
either way, I think it is.
Yeah, you use a Netflix original, and it's...
I think it's my top 3. I mean, The Boys, like, there was a lot of... The Boys was close, and Barry was close. But I think I like You better. So You is my 3.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that years ago, so I can't...
I first got around to it this year.
It's a great show. I have the opposite of recency bias. I have not watched it in years, so I don't know. I have to rewatch it.
Yeah, I have recency bias.
I do remember loving it. I do remember thinking it was great. I do also remember thinking it's weird that I liked it, though. You know?
Well, the acting is incredible.
Yeah, no, it's great. What's his name? Penn Bagley.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Is fantastic. So my number 3 is Inventing Anna.
Okay.
So Inventing Anna came out early 2022. It went viral on social media, and I was like, okay, I gotta watch this. And it is so weird. Okay, so it's
Was that a limited series or is it gonna be season?
Limited series. Okay. So it is a true story.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to like spoil the story because I know a lot of people don't know it, but if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. It's actually her name's escaping me right now, but it's Ruth Langmore off of Ozark is the main girl.
Okay.
And she plays a girl with a German accent, which is so incredible acting considering she plays a super like Southern accent girl in Ozark.
Well, that just shows her.
She's fantastic. She plays a fantastic character. And if you've read the story of what actually happens and then you watch it, it's really, really cool to see how she plays it. And it's from the point of view of a journalist who's covering her story and trying to dig and find what's actually going on. And it's called Inventing Anna because the girl is just like making up her whole life. You just have to watch it. Okay. It's actually incredible. It's incredible from every point of view. Like the way they tell the story is so weird. The moment you start watching, you're trying to figure out what the heck am I watching, but you just get like in it. Like you get transported in it and you can't stop watching because you're so confused.
Well, I mean, seems like a good number 3. I might have to give it a watch after that sales pitch. But
I'm a great sales. Sponsor me, Netflix.
So my number 2 might be surprising that it's not number 1 for a lot of you guys out there because this has a huge like from a social media standpoint, it has huge fan base. My number 2 is Outer Banks. I just got around to that this year. It was very good. Yeah. And I think it's better than Barry and Ozark and all the other shows that I watched this year and Cobra Kai. Obviously Cobra Kai. But Outer Banks, my number 2. I really liked it. The story is really good. But I wasn't like as high on it as other people who watched it like as it came out. Like I watched it in a week, so I didn't get like attached to the characters as a lot of people did. But it's very good, and I'm ecstatic for season 3. But that's my number 2.
Yeah, Outer Banks is great. Again, one of the shows that I watched during COVID, so can't include it for me. But yeah, number 2 for me is actually a show that has been off for a long time. It came out, I believe, like 2007 time originally. Friday Night Lights. I just watched it for the first time. I had actually seen part of season 1, so I'm kind of cheating. But I had to go. It had been years, and I didn't even finish it. So, it's so good. And I know when I read articles, it's like top shows of all time. It's always in the top 5, top 10. So I knew it was good. It's like the first thing that Michael B. Jordan, I think it was like his big break. It has, and he's not even like until the very end. But
I feel like most people have heard of Friday.
Yeah, everybody knows Friday Night Lights, but it's so good. Yeah. It's top of my list now, or towards the top of my list, but not the top of this year for me.
Yeah, obviously. So he had number 2 for Friday Night Lights. My number 1 is Better Call Saul. Now, it was actually not number 1 until I watched this week. Like I still haven't finished it, but I'm almost done with season 6, and I just watched the 2 best episodes of the entire series. So that's why it got moved up on my list. And I got through 5 seasons back in April, but then Stranger Things came out in May, so I kind of stopped watching it. And then obviously on my Stranger Things thing, I kind of just forgot about it. But then I rewatched Breaking Bad, and now I'm finishing Better Call Saul. It's incredible. If you haven't watched the Breaking Bad universe, then you wouldn't really understand it. It's a prequel to Breaking Bad. and it's awesome. Bob Odenkirk is a legendary actor. I mean, I just watched The Nobody with him as well. That's a movie on HBO, I believe. So that's an incredible movie. But
sponsor us.
anyways, he's the star of the show, plays Saul Goodman. That show is incredible. If you know, you know. But yeah, that's my number one.
Nice. So my number one, and I know you read my list earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell you.
I already knew it, though.
But I'm going to tell you after why this is going to shock you. I'm going to tell you why. Because my number one is, I'm actually kind of cheating. It's two shows, but it's one universe. So Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. So I didn't get on the Game of Thrones kick until this year. I had always wanted to watch it. It was always on the top of my list, want to watch. I never had a problem with it. I just never watched it because it was so daunting. Because it was so many episodes, so many seasons. I was like, I really don't want to. I just didn't want to. Like, I was scared to. But the moment I got through season, I don't know, probably 13 episodes in, I was just like, good gosh, this is the greatest thing I've ever watched. So watched it twice, 3 times actually. Then watched House of the Dragon, just came out. They did weekly episodes. It was fantastic. But the reason that I'm surprised you haven't said anything, because there's another show that I watched this year for the first time.
Breaking Bad.
Yeah. And it's not my top 3.
Yeah, I know.
Which might be blasphemy.
And the reason why it's not in his top 3 is because he hasn't even finished it.
I only have 7 episodes left, so it's not like I haven't watched the bulk of it.
Yeah, but episode 14 of season 5, everyone knows it's a top 3 episode in the entire show. He hasn't seen it. So,
okay, that's fair. Yeah. But I don't think it would. I don't know. I love it. I love Breaking Bad. It's been a great journey, but
he's probably never going to finish it as well. But if he does,
I'll finish it.
He needs to watch Better Call Saul as well.
I'll finish it, and I will. That's the reason I'm going to finish it, because I want to watch Better Call Saul. Yeah, no, but Breaking Bad was great, but there's a lot of good shows coming up, and that's been my problem. That's the reason I haven't been able to watch it. Yeah. Is because I every time I try, it's like, oh, this show. November is a big month.
I think, I haven't really thought about that much until, literally 45 minutes ago, but I feel like November is, the biggest month we've had since, July, June, May,
There's been bigger months, I just don't know if we paid attention.
Cobra Kai has been pretty big, that was kind of big in September, Dahmer and stuff, but, I feel like November, it just has a bunch of new seasons along with new originals.
Well, it's for shows that we've watched.
True. So,
yeah, and November for us
but it's still really big.
November for us has been the biggest since July.
Yeah.
And July was carried by volume 2 of Stranger Things. But
and The Boys.
Real quick, we're gonna give our top 3 each, and we might have the same top 3.
Yeah.
So okay, so we're gonna just give our top 3 must watch of November 2022.
That's on our list, which we're when we say must watch, that's the next shows we're gonna watch.
Yeah, and we're also recommending it to you guys because it's things that we are psyched about and we can't wait. We'll give a couple honorable mentions too before we wrap up. But what is one show? We're not gonna rank them. This is too hard. Actually, screw it. No, let's each do it. We'll rank because we're gonna have different rankings. What's your third?
My third would be Wednesday.
That would also be my third.
Okay.
That would also
think we have the same list.
That would also be my third. So Wednesday comes out November 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So November 23rd, it is the Addams Family spinoff, or not spinoff, but TV show. Yeah, it's from the mind of Tim Burton, like it always says. Anything by Tim Burton is going to be scary, creepy, weird, but I'm excited about it.
And hype around it is the only reason I'm excited for it, to be honest with you. It's content, but
yeah, I mean, I'm excited.
And it has Jenna Ortega. She's great.
Yeah, and we watched the trailer. If you missed yesterday's episode,
that trailer was great.
Yeah, we actually reacted to the trailer, so go watch. It's good. It looks good. It's been hyped for a little while. Anytime Netflix super hypes a show, puts ads out and tries to hype it, that makes me think it's going to be good because they wouldn't for their low key shows. Their reason they're low key, they're not greatly produced. So I'm excited about it. Wednesday, November 23rd. Jump in our Discord because we will be doing content on it and get your popcorn ready. Number 2.
By the way, that sucks because I'll be gone November 23rd.
We will have content. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
For Thanksgiving. That's what we're talking about. Anyways.
Yeah.
My number 2 show for November that's on my watch list, which might surprise you a little. I don't know if we switched up a little bit, but mine for number 2 is Manifest.
Mine's also season 4 of Manifest.
Yes.
That's mine. I think we're both psyched. Season 4, we're gonna have a lot of content coming about that too. Making theories and just looking into it. I'm excited for season 4.
Yeah. Because Netflix is taking over, and like I said earlier in the episode, one of the biggest flaws was CGI in production. So Netflix has been known for its great production over the last few years, and Manifest storyline is amazing. So if they can capitalize,
and they kept all the directors and the creative team all the same, so that they actually maintained the team. But if they can just pump in a little bit more money per episode, I don't know. We don't have those numbers. I don't know what they've done, so I guess we'll see. But I'm excited. However, I don't know if you know this, but they have a new kid playing. What's his name? The kid.
Really?
Cal has a new kid playing him. They have a grown version of him.
I did not know that.
So and then also Ben's wife, that actress, I don't remember her name, not in the show. She didn't come back.
Okay.
So
that personally does not ruin it for me, because it would ruin it for me if
she's in every episode. Now she's not a fan favorite. She's definitely not my favorite.
And neither is Cal. But
he's so important to the storyline.
Well,
it's tough.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite is Josh Dallas.
But if they're gonna have a timely, so that's not fair.
If he would get replaced, though, that would have been like The Witcher being replaced.
Yeah, no, I mean the reason he's the favorite though is because the character's well written. He's a good guy, and he's honestly kind of a badass. Like he starts off as this kind of nerdy guy who's just kind of like, oh man, and then he just turns into just this. And
he's a great actor.
Yeah, but that's the main reason. Yeah. He's by far the best talent on the show. It's not even close.
No,
he's the best actor on the show, and I mean he has other main A+ roles too.
Yeah.
Manifest season 4. Number 1. I know we had the same one. It's 1899
because it's being compared to Stranger Things, and I need to see if it lives up to the hype. So that's my most anticipated.
That's not my reason.
Well, I like the idea of it too. Like the story, you got to solve a riddle. So there's gonna be a lot of theories to be made. The content that we're gonna make on that is gonna be insane. So just be ready. Put on notifications on every platform, because I'm gonna be pumping out the content.
So if you're not familiar, 1899 comes out November 17th.
Yep.
It's from the creators of Dark, which I know is a book, but
I've watched most of Dark. I didn't finish it, to be honest with you, because Cobra Kai came out at that time, and I needed to watch that for content, and I just never got back to it. But Dark was like, that was a dubbed show, so I'm pretty sure the original language was German. I'm not for sure, but I think it was. And that's like a movie or a TV show about like time travel and supernatural stuff. So, but it's a great story. So that's one of the reasons why this show is so hyped up, because it has such credible.
Yep. In 1899 it's a show where it reminds me of the Titanic, because the plot of it is, it's set. I don't even know when it's set. 1899. Yeah. It's set in 1899. So they're actually going from Europe, I believe, to America, which literally is the plot of the Titanic. And
it reminds me of sort of like the Manifest timeline, like the ship.
Yeah.
I think they go into like a wormhole. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Well, that's the thing. We have no clue what happens. I think you're thinking of like a time warp.
Yeah, time. So I think that is what I got. Like that's the type of vibe I got. But like I also get the vibe of Inception.
Yeah,
because well,
that's the thing.
You have no idea what's going on.
We know,
but we only watched a 2-minute trailer. So,
but that's all anybody knows.
Yeah,
like they have not released purposely any information on the show.
That's why it's so hyped.
So, and it's creepy. It's got elements of demonic possession. It's got elements of, like you said, Inception, where what's real, what's not real. It's got elements of Shutter Island, if you've seen that, where you're like, you just have no clue what's going on. And then I compare it to Titanic because it's just a ship carrying. The whole show takes place on a ship, like on a voyage. So, and it's also very, very dark. And we've talked about this. Yeah. I'm not a big comedy show all the time. I'm huge on really dark, like serious shows. So, super excited.
And I don't even know if the cast is stacked, but I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, I think it's mostly non-American actors, so it's people that I'm not, too familiar with. I think Relay is pulling that up real quick. We're gonna wrap things up here. Just want to remind you guys one last time. if you're on Apple or Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I don't care what you write. I don't care if you write that we're two buffoons and we have no clue what we're talking about. As long as it's 5 stars. Share this podcast with everybody you can. We need to know that you like it. Let us know. DM us on Twitter. We'll have the link to all of our socials here. We have bonus content on TikTok and Instagram. Join the Discord for community night, movie watch, all that kind of stuff. What'd you find? Anything?
I'm not gonna try to pronounce their names.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's
so they're all German actors. It looks like so. If you're,
the show is actually not dubbed though. It is.
Yeah, it's not dubbed. So I'm excited about that personally because
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of watching dub shows.
It
I
is.
would, but yeah.
It is in English.
Yeah.
Unless they did the greatest dub job of all time, that trailer was dubbed.
No.
But
they have accents and stuff.
yeah. But with that being said, we're gonna wrap it up. One last thing. Overall, not just November. What's one show that you're looking forward to? You can't say Stranger Things.
Okay. I was gonna say Stranger Things.
Can't say Stranger Things.
I'm probably gonna miss something. I'm really excited for season 4 of You. That's February, but one other thing that's in February is Outer Banks, and I feel like that's the closest show that's close to us that I'm the most hyped for, personally.
Yeah.
So that comes out February 24th, I believe, somewhere around there. So I'm excited for Outer Banks. I think that's like within 6 months. I think that's the most hype I am for a show.
Yeah. So for me, I'm definitely looking forward to Outer Banks. It's kind of tough because my favorite shows aren't coming out for a while. House of the Dragon and Stranger Things aren't until 2024.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna have to go The Witcher, Part 3,
Okay.
Season 3. I'm
But then, yeah,
very upset.
with the Henry
changing
thing.
them changing
The main actor.
Geralt of Riviere. I'm so upset about that. But I'll say that honorable mention, by the way, for the month of November. If you watch The Dragon Prince, this has been Loki. Season 4 comes out at the time you're listening to this, either tomorrow or the date is passed because it comes out Thursday, November the 3rd, actually. So.
Okay, well, I have some honorable mentions as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Yellowstone, I haven't even watched it, but season 5 comes out.
Yeah, classic.
But-
Yeah, great show.
Also, we didn't even talk about this episode. We did yesterday. Tulsa King is.
I'm not as excited about that as you are,
Okay.
but it does look good because it's Sylvester Stallone.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's Sylvester Stallone. It's a gangster movie, like
TV show.
yeah, just our TV show. Looks good.
Yeah.
I think we're missing one more too, but well, okay. So there's actually 2 shows. There's Lopez and Lopez, which is like George Lopez's new show, and then there's Blockbuster,
Yeah.
which looked okay.
And there's like the Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell musical or something.
That's
like
the
that.
movie, yeah. That's the movie. That one looks interesting. And if you want to know every single thing that's coming out in November, check yesterday's episode. If you're listening to this in a future day, it was the episode on November 1st. Go listen to that. We did reviews on some trailers, all kind of stuff. But with that being said, you can find me at Crenbeast on all platforms, just like it's written in the title of the show and in the info. Relay, let them know where you can find you.
At RelayTS on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. Instagram's at Relay_TS. But RelayTS, you'll find me anywhere. So yeah.
And you can find us at Popcorn Talks. It kind of differs per social. Again, everything is in the link. Wherever you're, or everything, we have all the links in the description of this video, no matter where you're watching. Yeah, we have a link tree. We have all kind of stuff. So go watch us on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Twitter, all that. Leave a 5-star review. And then if you're on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to watch the video version and you are listening to it, we are on YouTube. Just a heads up, though, the video quality is not great right now. We'll work on it. But with that being said, we'll catch you guys in tomorrow's episode. Peace, love, and blessings. See you guys.